Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Presented by Pipe Wrench, Junk Be Gone, and the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into the Sports Source here in the Paper Be Gone studios. We're happy to have you. We appreciate you always coming in and joining us on Sunday mornings. We're in our 20th year, and that's all thanks to you and to our fine sponsors. And you noticed a new one there that we'll tell you more about as the show goes on. Today we've got a title for UT baseball. We've got the odds on both College World Series, men's and women's. We've got hoops landing another 5-star and beating Bruce Pearl to do it. How the SEC schedule changed and their new format is going to impact Tennessee. What would be the 3 best permanent rivals Tennessee could get if the SEC is handing those things out in terms of fan interest? We've got a lot to cover, so let's just get right into it. Our first segment of today's program brought to you by Junk Be Gone. And just a couple of weeks ago, I had Junk Be Gone to my house. Out went all kinds of crap that I haven't used in a year, all sorts of boxes and shipping containers that brought stuff for our new set. All that loaded up, hauled away, saves me making 15 trips, so they just do it. They take care of it. Junk Be Gone makes it easy to clean your home, your garage, and if you want, they'll even do the heavy lifting. If you've got a big piece of something old and crappy that you want out, they can get rid of it. Junk Be Gone, junkbegone.biz to learn more. I use them every year because I just think the world of them. You will too. All right, let's welcome in 4 guys who I also think the world of, and you will too. Bob Hodge, longtime sports writer, appreciate you for joining us.
I thought you was going to go with big piece of old and crappy.
Old and crappy, Bob Hodge. We have right here from 99.1 The Sports Animal, Josh Ward and Vince Ferrara. Thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And down there, the matching bookend to our old big piece of crap, we got Chuck Cavaleras. Chuck, longtime sports writer in this town as well, and longtime member of our panel. Chuck, thank you.
Great to be here, John.
All right. For the first time since that magical 1995 season, that's the pack your bags, Ma, we're going to Omaha team. Tennessee has captured the SEC overall championship outright. So that was done yesterday. Well, it was actually done 2 days ago. But Tennessee lost yesterday to Georgia, but they took 2 out of 3. Arkansas lost on a night when fans were grabbing raccoons off the field. I don't know if you've seen this on social media, but you would have loved it. It would have been looked like you. There was a huge raccoon on the field, and the guy just grabs it and walks off the stadium. Anyway, that's Arkansas for you. Here in Metropolis, that isn't what we do. But Tennessee wins the SEC outright, 45-7 overall on the year, which is just insane. 22-5 in the SEC. 33-3 on the year at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. There's still a week to go, Vince, but as one of their broadcasters, I'll just ask you, is this the best season in Tennessee baseball history, or will that depend on how it ends?
It will depend on how it ends. I mean, let's be honest with the fan base, and when you're comparing history with such a great year like that too, you have to see what the end result is. Is it as impressive as any regular season Tennessee's ever had? Absolutely. If you're just going regular season, then certainly I think you have an even better argument from that standpoint. And Tennessee's having one of the better years in SEC regular season history. When they have a chance to maybe have the largest margin of victory in winning the league as we've seen in the league, and have gotten there second closest, I think, to a South Carolina team a few years ago in terms of how quickly they were able to win their division. I mean, the regular season has been amazing, but you need that postseason.
Yeah.
Agreed?
Oh yeah. I mean, because that's the mark that you're trying to do. I mean, you've made it to the College World Series.
Right.
I think you at least have to get back there and hopefully win a game.
Right.
Or more.
Yeah.
Josh, Bob, Vince makes an interesting point in terms of Tennessee's all-time great regular seasons. Football is such a different beast because you only play X amount of games. I mean, if you played 52 football games, you're probably not going to go undefeated. But in terms of 45-7 in baseball, how does that compare to 98 when you went, I guess the regular season was 11-0 back then for football. Is that comparable?
Sure it is. I mean, it's such a different game when it comes to the way the season breaks down, but I think Vince is absolutely right. If this team flames out in the postseason, I mean, look at your basketball team this year. I mean, you're based, if it's a postseason sport, football's a regular season sport, and you do well in the postseason, it enhances that. But if you go 10-2, most people are going to look back on it and say, yeah, that's good. This is a postseason sport just like basketball. So I think the big happy is still hanging out there someplace.
Is it too harsh, Josh? I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
No, I'm never quiet.
He's never.
Is that too harsh? I mean, should this be celebrated? Let's say they flame out. It's been a heck of a ride. Fans have gotten into it. Fans have enjoyed it. They've been given an unbelievable show. They love the Miami Hurricanes kind of behavior. So I'm always trying to gig Vince down here just to see if I can get a response out of him. But it's been that kind of a fun, wild ride. Mm-hmm. Is it too harsh to say, they blew it at the end?
Well, if they blow it at the end, that's what everybody's going to say.
Yeah, you're right.
Because of what you just said.
Trying to be positive here.
But I say everybody, not just Tennessee fans, because now Tennessee has put itself in a position where opposing fan bases will be rooting against Tennessee. Yep. They already are, but in the postseason especially, because that's where it would end. So, that's the position Tennessee's in. That's the position you want to be in, though. You play for that. You play to make yourself that kind of team so that you have the opportunity to be an all-time team. But it comes down to the postseason. John, you probably don't want me to bring up the 2007 Patriots, but that's one of the greatest teams of all time, right?
No, they suck.
But the team didn't have the accomplishment.
Right.
So that's the position Tennessee has worked to be in. They're there. So I think the comments Friday night was, well, we can celebrate this later. But if they don't have the postseason success to go with it, they're not going to look back and say, well, at least we had a really good regular season.
You mentioned something that's interesting. Everybody's going to be pulling against you. When the Vol Twitter group gets into their thing, and it's a lot of chest beating, and the team does its thing on the field that aggravates people, if you do flame out, fans better be prepared. They're never going to hear the end of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's opposing fans will let you have it the way Vol fans let the 10 Miami fans in the Superdome have it that night. If you're going to be out there walking big and bold and it flames out, opposing fans are going to have a heyday with that. Chuck, and again, though, that is kind of the place you want to be in. If,
exactly.
People give Duke hell whenever Duke leaves.
Yeah, you don't work to be in the middle of the pack and then surprise people in the postseason.
Yeah.
Right. All right, quickly, Chuck, let me put up some numbers here for this 1995 team that I mentioned earlier. Their overall record was 54-16, 22-8 in the SEC. They were SEC regular season champions. Back then, you played in East and West tournaments. They won the East Division tournament, made the College World Series, won their first game against Clemson, then lost back-to-back games to Cal State Fullerton. But on that roster, you had R.A. Dickey, who had a 15-year Major League Baseball career. You had Todd Hilton, 17 years in the majors, and he was SEC Player of the Year in '95. This town, for those of us who are old enough, this town went nuts for that team because it was the first College World Series trip in 40-something years, since '51 at the time. The bandwagon was huge. Does this fan support feel different to you or about the same?
No, it feels different. I mean, it really does. And I saw a lot of those games. And, of course, Rod Delmonico is the coach. How long did you go before you found another coach like Rod Delmonico? Yeah. A long time. R.A. Dickey was the most durable pitcher in school history.
But fan support.
But fan support, no, this is different because this is kind of like dominance. You aren't just winning, you're dominating. And look at attendance. I mean, I was in the stands for a lot of those games, maybe 1,500, 2,000. Yeah. These, you've got standing room only go on sale 90 minutes before the game. You're lucky to get in. This is different. This is much more, to me, widespread, and a lot more fans that are hungry to support a winner have jumped into this thing.
That's interesting. It may be the hunger to support a winner, gut has to be part of it, but I also think it just feels more sustainable.
Yeah, and you got an hour rain delay and lightning delay, and you're sending people out of the ballpark, in a way, and they packed it right back. And you thought, all right, none of these people are coming back. Absolutely, they all came back, which tells you how committed they are to supporting this team.
Something that may have changed too. The SEC now baseball is growing in the conference, So I think it might be more sustainable from the fact that it is now. You had South Carolina win national championship, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State.
Florida's won one, yeah.
So now maybe it's become more of a conference sport, and that'll help keep it sustained even if you're not the dominant team like you've been this year.
Recruiting will keep it sustainable too.
Yeah.
That'll help. All right. When we come back, let's look at projections for who UT might draw in the NCAA tournament. And then also, what are the odds makers saying about baseball team and softball team in terms of their chances of winning their World Series? That's next. And then we got a lot of football to come. Don't worry, we're going to talk a lot about the SEC's looking at new scheduling formats. What does that mean for Tennessee? Who do you want to see Tennessee get? That kind of stuff's coming up. Come on back on the Sports Source.